Welcome back to my channel. My name is Krista Noel, and today we're going to be talking about the full moon in Aries. So this is such an exciting time. As you can see, it's a full moon in Aries, and actually for today's video, I'm going to be highlighting a few things. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the full moon, especially in Aries, and because we're ending Libra season, what does that mean specifically in your life? I'm actually going to give you 3 exercises as well towards the end of the video for you to implement for this full moon. So make sure you watch till the end of the video to get those 3 exercises. And I promise you, if you implement them, you're really going to see some changes, and it will really help you reflect on your life currently, especially since we're coming to a close. 2021 is ending soon. And so I'm just really excited for the full moon in Aries because this is an opportunity, right? The theme is to really focus on ourselves, right? And our purpose and what our soul mission is. And Aries is all about that. So if you are loving this type of content, make sure that you like and subscribe for more content like this. So let's begin, okay? I want to get right straight into it. So first of all, the full moon in Aries is really interesting because a full moon is when we're able to release things that no longer serve us. So for those of you that are not familiar with what a full moon entails, I actually have a great analogy that I recently really came to terms with myself. So I have been manifesting with the moon for this entire year, for 2021. A lot of great things have happened in my life this year. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know all of the manifestations and all the things that have occurred this year specifically. However, what's interesting is that not a lot of people know the idea of how the moon phases and actually how it affects our lives, right? So to put it simply, whenever we have a new moon, and if you haven't watched my new moon in the new moon from last time, new moon in Libra, make sure you check it out because I have some good information there too. But essentially the new moon is, you can't see it, right? At night, you can't see the new moon, but in a full moon, you can see the moon very bright. It's very apparent. It's right in front of you. So essentially, the full moon occurs when the sun and the moon are directly opposite of each other. So as you can see here on the picture, these are the phases of the moon, and a full moon is literally when they're opposite of each other. And what eventually happens is that the sun is illuminating the moon and you're able to see everything. And I like to talk about this because the reason why we want to reflect during this time is because literally the sun is on the moon and you can see everything. And during this time, a lot of things may come up. And so when we're trying to manifest or when we're trying to align ourselves with the moon, we want to remember the intention behind each phase. So this intention is really to reflect on the dynamic of Aries as well as Libra, because the sun is actually in Libra and the moon is coming into Aries. So this dynamic is actually really interesting. And what I want to do is talk about every sign has basically high and low points, meaning that there's positive and negatives to everything, including zodiac signs. So because the full moon is in Aries, I want to talk about the negatives as well as the positives, because essentially it shows up in our life. We'll probably experience some negative traits of the zodiac sign, especially in Aries coming up, right, happening into our lives, as well as some positives. And what we want to do is that we want to reflect on anything that no longer serves us so we can transcend and utilize that positive aspect in order for us to reach our goals, right, or our intentions. So when it comes to Aries, because Aries is such a fiery sign, it's the first zodiac sign of the entire element or the entire zodiac sign system. The negative side to Aries is anger and frustration. So essentially what you're going to feel this full moon is probably these emotions, frustration, anger, are going to surface during this time. And I really want you to think about why that is. So I'll give you a good example. So I'm actually getting married next month, and these past couple days and even weeks leading up to this full moon in Aries has been really tough for me in terms of my emotions. I'm getting triggered and frustrated by certain people, certain family members. And I realized that me getting frustrated has nothing to do with them, but it's that they're showing me something that I need to look at within, right? So this frustration, this anger, for instance, that I have towards my family members when it comes to coming to my wedding and they're not coming. It's like I'm frustrated, I'm hurt by it. And when I ask myself, why am I really so frustrated by it? It's really because these are things that I don't like within myself, and they're basically a big mirror for me. And I'm just realizing and I'm reflecting that, oh, okay, so really whenever I'm frustrated at someone else, all I'm doing is that I'm deflecting my frustration and my anger away from myself, and I'm actually trying to hide from myself. And it's so interesting because the full moon in Aries is such a powerful time for us to really see what is holding us back from reaching our fullest potential, right? Aries is a fiery sign. It's full of passion. When it's positive, I'll go into there in just a bit. It's very passionate. It's very motivated. So when Aries is positive, you can feel yourself doing things, getting things done. And when you are not in alignment with the positive sides of Aries, you're probably frustrated, you're angry. These emotions are surfacing up during this time. So I really ask you to ask yourself, like, what kind of emotions are coming up? How can I actually transcend those emotions or transmute those emotions so that I can learn something from it? Because remember, the overall theme of Aries is really focusing on ourselves, right? We are leaving Libra, which is all about balance and harmony, and learning to focus on ourselves. What do we want to do? What is our mission? And so this full moon is really going to highlight that and really encourage you to look at yourself. What is stopping you from getting to that next level? So what's also interesting that I wanted to point out is that Aries and Libra are actually exactly opposite of each other on the wheel, the zodiac wheel. I find that really interesting, and I want to point that out. And that is that most people, when they think of opposites, they think that it's not the same thing. It's opposite, right? But just like hot and cold are opposite of each other, they're basically two differences on the same spectrum, right? They're the same thing, but different. And so I want to encourage people during this time to look at it like this. Aries, the full moon is in Aries, the sun is in Libra. It's really a time for us to actually harness both of these energies, the positives of both of these signs. And that would look like being very passionate and motivated, which is Aries, and then also balanced in the way we feel and how we act. Right? So because they're opposite of each other, it's almost as if it's a mirror. And during this time, you may just feel very presented with a lot of mirrors in your life right now. Especially watch how certain things trigger you and really, really ask yourself and sit there and ask yourself why this is happening or why do I feel like this, right? So this actually goes into my first exercise for you. And that is during this full moon, whatever ritual that you have. Again, if you have a full moon ritual, let me know in the comments. And if you don't, make sure you check out my last video because I actually walk you through how I personally have a full moon ritual or a moon ritual every moon cycle. So the first exercise that I want you to do is to actually question your emotions. So most of the time we actually go through life without questioning why we feel a certain way. We feel a certain way and then we react to it, right? Or we deflect, meaning that let's say so-and-so made you upset, right? So-and-so made you upset, and then it's easier to actually be upset at that person. But really what it is that there's something within you that they're showing, right? There's the Four Agreements talks about that actually, which is that like whenever we're triggered by someone else, it's just putting salt on a wound. That wound is clearly there, and we're meant to actually see what is it that's affecting us. How can we actually look at ourselves instead of other people, especially like feelings like anger or frustration are going to probably show up for you. Or the other one would be, let's say that you are maybe a little bit connected more to the Libra energy, although it's kind of like it's ending, right? So you may feel like, okay, I need this Aries energy to get me started. Maybe you've been too stagnant, right? So true balance is when you're able to balance being motivated and still calm at the same time, right? Especially during this time. Or maybe you feel like you're a little bit too stagnant. So asking yourself, what is the emotions that's coming up? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it frustration? And if so, why am I feeling this way? Like, what is this teaching me? Right? So that's the first exercise. The second exercise is actually focusing on your solar plexus chakra. So I actually put here 2 crystals that I'm personally working on or working with this full moon cycle. So the solar plexus chakra is really all about who we are, right? And our self-esteem. It's the chakra that gives us self-confidence, and it really is aligned with the energy of Aries. So what I personally like to do when I work with stones or crystals, if you haven't checked out my Moldavite video series, then make sure you do that, because I think a lot of you know me through there. But essentially, carnelian is a great crystal for that fiery energy, especially if you want to be more motivated, if you want to be a little bit more not aggressive, but assertive, right? Whereas jade, so I'm actually wearing jade right now. Jade is a much more balancing, harmonious stone. And like, fun fact about jade, so I didn't even realize this. So you can see that it looks gold here, right? But jade, so I have like a light behind me, so you can see that the light's shining on me. But jade is kind of like moldavite, where when you shine light on it, you should see through it. That's real jade. If it's just green and if there's no color, it's just like pure green, then you know that it's not real, right? So I really want to encourage you to either work with both of these stones. I actually have my carnelian here. So you either work with both stones if you're trying to balance both, or you're working with one or the other, whatever you feel called to do so. And you can meditate with your stone. You can really just keep it in your pocket, in your bra, as a way to set your intention for this next cycle. Really quickly, I want to talk about today's sponsor, which is Rose Forever. As you can see, I have a beautiful set of roses in front of me. And the cool thing is that they're not even real. Okay, so let me just quickly talk about this. So I'm the type of person that loves roses. I love flowers. I love it when my fiance gives me flowers, but the one thing I don't like is that they actually obviously die over time. So what I love about Rose Forever is that they're actually roses that have been preserved for a year. So if you're someone that, finds confidence in flowers, especially this full moon in Aries, then I suggest that you check them out. And I'm actually giving you $15 off their website, their Rose Forever. And the amazing thing is that it smells so good. It smells so good because they use natural oils to preserve the roses. And each one of these bouquets, right, this bouquet here, is handcrafted by a professional rose artisan. Now, this is so cool. This makes such a great gift when it comes to the holidays, especially if you're someone that wants to buy yourself a gift to feel confident, or maybe you can hint to your partner like, hey, why don't you give me a box of roses that last an entire year? So again, it comes in all these different colors and different shades. It's very diverse. So again, if you want to check these out, make sure you use my code KristenNoel15 to get $15 off your purchase. So there you have it, Rose Forever. And then finally, the third exercise I would like for you to hopefully implement, and let me know in the comments below which one you feel most aligned with so far, is actually revisiting your purpose and your mission. So again, Aries is all about ourselves. It's about who we are. We come first, number one, right? So it's like, what are you here to do in this lifetime? And I talk about this in another one of my videos when it comes to purpose. Purpose is not just one thing that you do for the rest of your life, okay? I think that there's a misconception that purpose is like just one thing and that's your main purpose for your entire life. It's actually could be multiple of things, right? There is a overarching theme of what you're meant to do here, but there's different vehicles or avenues in actually getting there. So I'll give you an example, right? I would have never guessed that I am now an Airbnb host and I have this beautiful retreat center in Sedona. But the overall arching theme is still the same. My purpose is to really help people gain self-mastery and to really heal themselves, whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever the case may be. But that's because I've been through that. I've been through what it's like to not know what it's like to heal myself. So I really want to be able to show people that it's possible for them. And so you see that the house that we have in Sedona is really just a vehicle, right? It's another way for people to find self-healing. So whatever your purpose is, you're probably going to have to revisit that this full moon. And there's different ways that you can revisit your purpose, right? Really think about what is it that you love to do. And please don't tell me like it's nothing or like I enjoy watching TV, because that's such a cop-out answer. I really want you to ask yourself, like, if no one is watching, or if I was a child, what did I like doing when I was a child? Go back to childhood pictures, right? Because your inner child is really the one that is sharing with you what it is that you're meant to do here in this lifetime. When I look back on pictures of myself when I was 8 years old or 7 years old, I constantly had a microphone or I was on the phone. It's so crazy because, like, even though it doesn't translate to, let's say, like, I don't know, like a telemarketer, right? It's like the use of voice or speaking my truth or speaking the truth. So again, these are signs that that's essentially what you're meant to do by looking at what your inner child or what your childlike you is drawn to. Okay, so with that being said, I hope you guys are able to do these 3 exercises. Try it out. Let me know in the comments which one you're going to be leaning towards. And again, if you feel like this full moon in Aries is gonna bring up a lot of emotions for you, then it's time to ask yourself why that is, right? What is it planning on showing me? What is it reflecting to me? What do I need to look inwards towards? This is really a good time to illuminate things or illuminate the shadows in our lives that are really keeping us from being the best version of ourselves. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one, and make sure you like, you subscribe, or send me a message on Instagram and say hi. Bye.